I said to the unemployed angels, "Do you think that there would be any chance that I could find a red admiral butterfly?" They said, "Lorna, we think that will be very hard." But I said to them, "Let's go and search anyway." I smiled at times because the angels still had 3 cabbage butterflies flying with us. Sometimes they flew around my head in a circle. I must have walked around for about an hour through the wild flowers, along bushes, and through the grass looking for a red admiral butterfly, but we never came across one. Even as I walked back to the car park, I was still looking for that particular butterfly that I used to see in abundance even in my own garden and here in the countryside. This year I have not even seen one. "Where are they all gone to?" I said to the angels. They never said anything to me. I turned and walked into the forest. After walking a little distance, I saw a tree trunk lying on the ground, and I sat there for a few minutes. There wasn't much light in among the trees, but that is something I don't mind once my eyes adjust and I can see where I'm going. I spoke out loud to the unemployed angels. One of them stood at the end of the tree trunk and another under one of the big old trees. The other unemployed angel stood in among all the underbrush. I said, "There should be lots of butterflies, but we have hardly seen any. That is really sad and disappointing." The angel that was standing at the end of the tree trunk said, "Lorna, what else has crossed your mind?" I remember God showing me one of the possible futures. Just as I said those words, a beam of light shone through the trees to my right, and out from among the trees walked Archangel Michael. As he walked towards me, the beam of light disappeared from behind him, but all the time remained shining in front of him. I smiled and said, "Hello, that is something, Archangel Michael. I wish I could do that when it is dark. To have a beam of light in front of me so I can find my way in the dark would be really helpful." Archangel Michael told me that he didn't need the beam of light. He had done that just for me. "Lorna, you are remembering one of the futures that God showed to you a long time ago." "Yes, I am, Archangel Michael, and it's really worrying me today. I'm realizing, and I know it's not the first time, but it always feels as if mankind, the human race, is not listening at all. Man seems to have his ears closed, only thinking of himself here and now, and not thinking of the future as well." Archangel Michael said, "Lorna, tell me about that future." I looked at him surprised. "What do you mean, Archangel Michael? You must know." He said, "Yes, I do, but tell me the part that touched you most." So I said to Archangel Michael, "Where should I start?" He replied, "Anywhere. Just start talking and let the memories flow through your mind as God shows you." Mankind must think of the future. When God showed me one of the futures of mankind, it was heart-rending. There were so few children, and the few children there were lived in what looked like bubbles. Their clothing was like a sealed suit, and their teacher was showing them what our wonderful world looked like in the past, all the life on the planet. The teacher was pointing to a picture of butterflies with a little girl running through long grass full of wildflowers. In the picture, she had in her hand a long, light stick with a net like a cup at the top of the blue that blew in the wind. The teacher said, "She is trying to catch the butterfly so she can have a closer look at it." One of the boys, aged about 11, said to his teacher, "It is not fair. Why did the people of the past destroy everything? Look at how we have to live today." A young girl stood up and said, "Were they stupid or something?" The teacher showed them many photographs of trees as well as birds, horses, elephants, cats, dogs, and lots of other wild and domestic animals. The children were mostly interested in the picture of the little girl running through the long grass, trying to catch a butterfly. I could feel the sadness as I stood there, Archangel Michael. It hurt that they could not run out and play out in the fresh air because there was none. The children of that future didn't know what it was like to touch a tree or to run through the grass. Another younger child, aged about 6, said, "It's obvious that they have no brains and that they never listen to God or their guardian angels." That was the part that surprised me. God ruffled my hair at that instant and told me that I had to go now. I was back in Maynooth in the little cottage. I stood up and walked with my Archangel Michael out of the little forest to the footpath. He was dressed in clothes that looked like working clothes. They seemed at first a little tattered, but as I looked at him closely, I saw that they were actually perfect. I said, Archangel Michael, what if someone comes along and sees you walking with me? Archangel Michael said, Lorna, don't worry. They definitely will. But just think, a workman on the grounds talking to you isn't strange. God would not let them recognize you. It's very quiet here today and no one is around. Archangel Michael stopped and looked at both of his hands, saying, Lorna, I know your heart is heavy. Yes, it is, I said, thinking of that particular future. It wasn't a good future. It's frightening, actually. Really quite horrible to think that those children have never seen a real butterfly. They only have pictures. I know, said Archangel Michael. There are still butterflies in the world, but I know here in Ireland the numbers must be dropping. Before we started to walk again, I asked Archangel Michael, could you hold one of my hands because it helps me to feel a little better? He took my right hand in his, and we walked around the grounds where all the wildflowers were, through the gardens, in among the trees, and along the riverbank. Look, Lorna, said Michael, the butterflies are coming to join us. The 3 white cabbage butterflies flew around Archangel Michael and myself. They were flying the way butterflies do, never in a straight line, but up and down. I would often say they are dancing through the air. They flew around us as we walked. I have not seen one red admiral butterfly since we talked about them, Archangel Michael. I have only seen the odd moth. Moth numbers are probably dropping too. I know the world has been conscious about bees and how scarce they have become and how precious they are. But all insect life is very precious. We are forgetting that we need them. What a shame it would be if the butterfly disappeared and the only time anyone would see a butterfly would be at a butterfly farm. Archangel Michael, I feel really cross. I don't like feeling like this. He stopped, reached out, and took my other hand. His love flowed through me, helping me to feel at ease, and, of course, those 3 cabbage butterflies flew between us and around us. That made me laugh, and Archangel Michael laughed as well. Not too loudly, though, and I was glad, for he knows his laugh can be like thunder. We started to walk again. I said to Archangel Michael, I know we have a butterfly farm here in Ireland. Maybe someday I will get a chance to go and visit it, but I would rather see the butterflies flying across the fields and in our gardens. When my little grandson Billy Bob was only a year old, this is going back about 4 years now, I was out in the garden with him. I was showing him butterflies landing on flowers. They weren't just cabbage butterflies or red admirals, but other ones as well. I don't know their names. I said to Archangel Michael, this is August. There should be lots of butterflies around. Has mankind killed them off with insecticides, weed killers, and other chemicals? Lots of things have disappeared in nature, Lorna. The sad thing is, you can never get them back. Keep helping people to grow spiritually and help them to become conscious of the beautiful planet and of the nature that God has given them. Help them to stop destroying it. We walked further along the path. I stopped after a while and I just looked around at the beautiful trees, the birds, and the wildflowers and the grass. I turned to Archangel Michael. How sad it is to think that we might lose all of this. He didn't answer me, but we were getting closer to the car park, and he simply said, Lorna, I have to go. He walked back towards the trees. Just before he disappeared, he turned and waved to me. This is something Archangel Michael doesn't do very often. He suddenly became radiant and very bright. He was no longer dressed in workman's clothes. I cannot describe the clothing he had on now, or how beautiful he looked, or how incredible. He was so radiant. I could see the flickering of his sword and shield. I knew he was going straight to the throne of God, and then he was gone. Within a few minutes, I was in the car, and I drove slowly home. When I got to the gate, I stopped the car, got out, and opened it. I got back into the parked the car. I don't know how I can describe what happened next. I had just stepped out of the car, and as I was doing so, I was saying to myself, how sad I didn't get to see the red admiral butterfly. It would have been lovely to have gotten a photograph of one. As I turned to close the car door, a beautiful and magnificent red admiral flew into my face. It was as if it flew out from the walls of my house and touched my nose, hovering there for a moment in midair at the tip of my nose. It completely startled me. What a surprise! It was incredible. It flew past me and I turned around instantly, but it was gone. I gave out to the angels and they just laughed at me. Angel Hostess was standing by the gate. Lorna, God wanted to surprise you. He sent that butterfly just for a moment. He has it in the palm of his hand now. Couldn't God have allowed it to linger just a little bit longer? Allowed it to land on the flower so I could take a photograph? Angel Hostess replied, No, Lorna, not that butterfly. It's from heaven. Angel Hostess said he had to go and disappeared. I didn't get a chance to ask any other questions over the next few days. I don't think I missed noticing any butterfly that flew past me. So far, they have only been the cabbage butterfly, for butterflies are too short in supply. I didn't see any red admiral butterflies. Hopefully, I will before the summer is out.